Good morning, it's Dave at All Things Important Reviews. Please smash that like button, please smash that subscribe button for more awesome watch content. I've got with me a Bulova Marine Star. Bulova they're actually an American watch brand. They're very popular, okay, they're not luxury, but they're actually owned now by Citizen, the big Citizen watch company. They own them. Citizen are a Japanese watch company, but basically Bulova was made around 140 years ago by Joseph Bulova, who was a Bohemian. That's someone from the Czech Republic, I believe, in modern day Czech Republic, who was an immigrant to the United States, and he created his own watch company. So it is a brand with real watch heritage, and obviously he was a European immigrant who landed in America and made a massive watch company, which was sold only about 13, 14 years ago to Citizen, I think in 2007, 2008. They make really good watches. As you'll see, this is actually a really decent all-round watch, as I knew it would be based on the specs, and having it now has confirmed my beliefs that it is a really good all-round watch. This is, I'll start off with the basics. It's 43mm, 100-meter water resist. This is actually a quartz. It's fully stainless steel. They don't market it as a diver. It's swimming, snorkeling, etc. But I believe you could easily get away with a 100-meter water resist as a diver for various reasons, which I can talk about later. It's a fully stainless steel bracelet. It is a press clasp, but it does have double pushers, and it is obviously the two-tone model. With a dive bezel, a really nice dive bezel. It is aluminium, but it is very nice. Now let's start with the size. So the size is 43mm. However, I believe the watch wears more closer to a 42. Now it's 43mm, but I could only get that measurement by measuring the case. When I measured the bezel, well, I had to measure from here actually. When I measured the bezel only gave me about 42. So it does fit, it does actually wear smaller, in my opinion, than a 43 normally. And it does not have a big supporting case. You can see there on the flanks, they curve up very nicely. The thickness is around 11.5, 11.6 mil on my unit. There will be variants, as is natural, across literally all watches, from luxury watches that are 20 grand to 20 quid watches. There is variance in thicknesses, as I've found out over the years. So the lug to lug is about 50.8, and the end-link to end-link is around 54.5, I think I got. So it's not a small watch by any stretch of the imagination, and it would be nice if the lug to lug was a bit smaller. But this is nonetheless a 40. It's a 43mm nominal, but in my opinion, it's more like a 42mm watch, in my opinion, which will be good for a lot of people. The weight of it, okay, it has a great. The weight of it is going to be around 185, 180 grams. I've took two links out. The links are solid. They are H links, which is nice again. They're H links, and they are solid. So that's going to take off, I don't know, probably an extra 16 grams, something like that. So probably on the wrist it's closer to 170 gram, 165 grams, something like that, once I've took the links out. It's a nice weight, and I'll quickly put it on the wrist, and it is a nice feel on the wrist. It doesn't feel too big. We will talk about an issue in a bit about this clasp. It's only because of the micro adjust. That's the only real thing wrong with it, really. It has a really good presence on the wrist. It's a great size. I would say you want at least 6.5-inch wrists, minimum 6, but I would say 6 is probably too small for this. I say really you want 6.5-inch wrists to really wear this watch because of the end link to end link size in particular. It is big, that nearly 55 mil. So the sizing I'm a big fan of. I wear massive G-Shocks. I like big watches, so I'm a fan of the size. I like the thickness. The thickness is not too thick. They've not gone overboard. It is only 11.5 mil thick. That is a brilliant size for this overall size of watch. Going thicker, going to like 13-14 mil, can really jack the weight up and make it feel too bulky when you're getting into these types of all stainless watches. If it was on a rubber band, that'd be a bit different, but anyway. The dial, in my opinion, is very beautiful. It's got you know, a suitable amount of writing. You've got the Bulova brand with Marine Star in italicized writing. You've got the 100 meter there, just above 6 o'clock. Let me just get rid of that. And the dial is a beautiful kind of navy deep blue. It is matte, it's not sunburst, which is another thing that attracted me to this watch. And it gives the watch the dial, the way they've done the dial is perfect in my opinion. It's just the right amount of writing, branding, and the style and the colour of that blue is perfect. And it doesn't look too blingy, and it looks classy. The two-tone of the gold with the navy blue and with the matte appearance gives it a beautiful, classy look, which means, in my opinion, this is an all-round watch. You could dress it up to a wedding, you could with a suit easily, you could go to the gym in it, but it will scratch pretty easily, obviously. But you could, you know, you can go swimming with it, no problem. You can even probably go diving with it, in my opinion. So it's a great all-round watch, which is why I bought it, basically. You could, you know, put it on a suit, it would look great in a business meeting. So it's a great all-round appearance to the watch, and a lot of that comes from the colours that they've chosen, and they've not gone overboard with the branding. The bezel is only what I believe to be aluminium, which I'm a big anti-aluminium guy. I prefer, you know, ceramic, sapphire, lacquered, whatever you want to call it. I want, you know, a hardened, durable bezel. This is only going to be aluminium, and I've not scratched it yet, obviously. But and what I do say as well is they've made the outer ring like kind of beveled, and they've made it polished, and it does look really, really good, actually. And the flanks of the case are also polished, so it looks like a really classy watch. Big thumbs up to Bulova. They know what they're doing. The bezel is a gorgeous, really grippy click. It feels really good. Only a minimum amount of back play. So the bezel's really good. I would prefer it to be obviously ceramic or a different material that's more durable than aluminium, personally. But it's not a deal breaker by any means at this price point, considering I paid in a deal in a which you won't be able to get probably, but I only paid a little above 100. I think I paid about, you know, 125 quid for it. The RRP is going to be about 299 GBP, about 300 British pounds. But you can get it cheaper online. You can get it closer to 200, and I would say that at 200 quid it's a decent watch, definitely. The crown it's not a screw down crown, but it is only 100 meter water resist. Okay. So ultimately, again, that's not a deal breaker to me. I mean, it would have been nicer if it was 200 meter and if it was a screw down crown. By all means, they have signed the crown with a Bulova emblem, which is fine, but it's not screw down. It is only a push one. You have got a date window. It is not magnified. Again, that's totally fine. On this watch, they've gone for a simpler, classier look, and they've not gone with a Cyclops. I'm glad about that. I think it does improve it by not having that on this watch, personally. Now, the case itself does, as I showed you before, it does have some really nice tapering at the lugs. It tapers down, and it also tapers up to curve round, so it is a comfortable watch on the wrist, definitely. The case back is pretty plain. Trying to get, yeah, Bulova. Yeah, with the item number on it, etc. So ultimately pretty plain case back, but that's totally fine. They're not going to put an exhibition window on there for the price, I don't think. Now let's talk about, because it is only a quartz, this. Now quartz watches, you're getting the super accuracy, but you're getting a battery that you have to replace every 2 to 3 years. That's my guesstimate. I'd have to check on Bulova's. I can't find how long Bulova have stated that the battery would last. For me, on a cheaper diver like this, well, it's not a diver, but you know, they call it Marine Star, so really that's what they're trying to aim to. On a cheaper watch like this, I prefer as I've mentioned before, I prefer quartz, because I don't like this super inaccurate 40 second a day, 20 second a day time losses. This will be accurate to, you know, 15 to 30 seconds per month with the quartz, and you're probably going to get, I'm going to guess, 2 to 3 years on the battery. I'm guessing. If I can find it out how long Bulova state for this watch, I will put it in the comments of this video or the description. Right, let's talk about the bracelet. So far everything's great. Now I've seen online some comments saying that Bulova make crap bracelets, and I don't know why, because this is my first Bulova watch. I think it is anyway, unless I picked one up 3 years ago before I had a channel, which was a chronograph. So it's the second Bulova watch I've had, but the first one I reviewed in this channel. This bracelet is totally fine. It's fully solid stainless, which is great. It's a H-link one. Now, on my measurements, I actually measure 21.5 mil at the end links, tapering down only to like 19.8 mil, or call it 20 mil at the clasp. Now, I think, as a little criticism, I think that is insufficient tapering. I think it should taper to 18 mil here. I think it needs another 2 mil taper. I mean, I think that would also improve the comfort of the watch a little bit more as well, and the weight, reduce the weight as well. I think that keeping it from like, it's almost like a 22 to 20 mil watch, whereas, you know, it probably could be a 20 mil to 18 mil watch, or 21 to 19 or 18. But it's, when I just measured it then, it was like 19.8 at the clasp, which I think is slightly too big, slightly. It does balance it very well, but I always like it a bit thinner near the wrist, personally. The bracelet is just pins. You just, obviously, I took them out, I've took them all out very easily. You've got the arrows from which way they go in. So it is a H-link style. H-link feels very similar to an oyster. It doesn't obviously feel, I would class it actually as a 2-link. It's like a 2-link H-link, if you will. They are very comfortable. They're just similar to an oyster style bracelet. They are polished on the outers. You can see that the pins, they're not screws, but that's totally fine. I'm totally happy with pins. You can resize a pin. I can resize a pinned bracelet very, very quicker than I can resize a screw one, personally. And I'm less bothered about, on a screw one, I'm bothered about putting the screwdriver, you know, missing the slot and scratching it, personally. But I do generally prefer screws, but that's just that to think of. The clasp is a mixed bag, and it's a mixed bag. Obviously it is pressed. It's obviously just cheap pressed metal, which is, them swing arms are, you know, cheap as chips. But it does have double pushers. The mechanism, and it has a safety catch. The mechanism is perfectly fine. It's comfortable. There's nothing on it that annoys your wrist. It is signed as well. You've got the Bulova emblem. And it also has dive extension. I will never, ever, ever use that because it extends it about, what, over a centimetre? Yeah, it extends it quite a bit, probably about 15 mil, 15, 20 mil. I will never, ever use that. Even if I was diving, I'd never use it probably. But the main downside with this clasp, if you can look past the cheap materials on it, but again, these cheap materials, they may last for years, and you can easily swap out the clasp if you really wanted to. The main downside with this clasp, and I don't know why they've done it, they've only put, well, that might be why actually, it needs at least one more micro adjust. They've only put 2 on it, so a lot of people are going to struggle to get the perfect fit. Now, I've been lucky, I can get a near perfect fit. I would like it just a smidge looser, but I can't make it a smidge looser, unfortunately, on this clasp unless I swap it. They've also not bothered on the bracelet. They've not bothered to put any kind of half or quarter links or third links. They've not put any on, which is a downside again. But it's not the be all and end all. The clasp is still decent for what it is. It's super, super comfortable. Oh, let me just sort that out. It's super, super comfortable. You'll never, you know, it's a good mechanism. Scissor clasp. And I'll just show it on my wrist. You know, that is very, very comfortable. It's not too heavy. It's not top heavy. It's not too top heavy. It's just that, can you see there? It is quite a straight band. There's very little taper. I personally think this all should be a little bit smaller, personally. Now, some people will disagree with that, definitely. But nothing on the bracelet it catches you. It's very comfortable, because the thing is with bracelets out there, this is the main problem with bracelets is that some of the edges on the clasp or the band can sometimes dig into the wrist, which is a problem that you don't really get on rubber bands. But I generally prefer the feel on the wrist of a bracelet than a band or a leather strap. I like it loose on the wrist. That's how I like it. And so if you get a good bracelet, you can just wear it all day and never have to worry about comfort. And I think the weight of this watch is gonna, and the size, the big 54.5 mil lug to end link, it is gonna, over the day, like 8 hours, it may feel a little bit heavy, you know, uncomfortable after hours and hours and hours, but I still think a lot of people can pull this off, and it's not too heavy. It'd be nice if it was 20 grams lighter, but some people want a bit of weight to it. It's not too heavy. It's not Inox weight, like 220 grams. It's not that. But it is 180 grams, something like that. So, you know, for those who wear like 130 grams, 140 gram watches, it is going to be a step above, but you've got 43 mil there to play with. You know, it's a bigger watch. As I said, it feels more, even though I've said all that, it feels more like a 42 mil. Now, this watch actually feels quite similar to the Victorinox Maverick, which I've got here. It feels very similar to the Victorinox Maverick, and I will actually do a comparison review of these two because they are very similar. As you can see, in my strong opinion, the Bulova looks smaller. It looks quite a bit smaller than the Maverick, but I can't put my hand on what's causing that. Is it the supporting case of the Maverick? Is it the bigger crown? The crown is a lot bigger on the Maverick. So, but they do feel similar. They do feel similar on the wrist and they're similar weight. Ultimately, as an all-round everyday watch that you don't break the bank with, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find one that ticks all the boxes as this one. The main problems for me, the main areas of improvement, I should say, would be, and And I just remembered I forgot to mention the crystal. The crystal will not be sapphire, it will be a hard lex. So the main things to improve would be obviously a sapphire crystal. Improve the bezel in terms of swapping it out to a different material like a lacquer or a ceramic if you can, and without breaking the bank. Improve the thickness of the swing arms and the shell of the clasp, and give us some more micro adjusts, and possibly drop this down to a taper about 1 or 2 mil more, in my opinion, on these end link. Not all the way up here, but taper it more down a little bit. And I think you'd have an absolutely fantastic watch. Obviously, it'd be better if this was actually a proper diver and it was 200 meter water resist. I don't know why they've only gone for the 100 meter if they're classing it as a Marine Star. Marine Star is obviously trying to compete with, the Planet Oceans, the Submariners, in terms of it's supposed to be in the league of, no, it's not a luxury watch. I'm talking about the fact it's marketed it's marketed as a diving watch, really. Even though they don't use the word diving, it's marketed as a diving watch. So in my opinion, it should be, have 200 meter water resist. Is it really going to be more difficult for them to test it and get that achievement with 200? What would they have to change to get that? Screw down crown. That's another thing they could do. But for what I paid for it, which is sub 200 quid, it is a great all around watch. Definitely. You're getting the accuracy of the quartz. I love it. A lot of people won't touch it because of quartz. Again, I like quartz. It doesn't bother me at all. When automatic watches at the affordable range get to about 5 seconds per day in accuracy I should say, then I'll start properly being bothered about automatics. Until then, I'm going to prefer quartz. So, should you buy it at retail? I'm not sure about that, but if you can get it a bit off retail, I think it's a fantastic all-around watch that looks a bit blingy, looks dressy, whilst also having the specs to back it up. It is a good watch. There's not that many, there's not that many that have a fully solid band at this price range, whilst looking as good overall. I think it's a decent effort. They also make a chronograph version, which will be a little bit heavier, I think. But again, that also, with some sub dials, the chronograph dials, that would also be a great pick, and they make it in different colours. Personally, I think the black and silver one is too boring for me. Personally, I don't like just black and silver without a third colour or without something else. But black and gold, yes, definitely. And the chronographs look fantastic. So, yep, it's a thumbs up for me. It's a good all-round little watch. There's no affiliate link below, but you can get it, I think on Amazon, you can get it on eBay, you can get it in loads of different places online, cheaper than paying top whack off Bulova's website. It's been Dave. I think the next video I'll do a comparison with this and the Victorinox, just to show you. The Victorinox is more expensive by about 200 quid RRP. It's more like 500 quid a watch instead of 300 quid. So I'm going to point out some benefits and downsides of each one and do a comparison. Thanks for checking this video out. It's been Dave. Nice one.